All right, we're looking at some of Shakespeare's sonnets. This will help you with your uh, journal as well. So, sonnets are lyrical poems that have 14 lines. There are two main types. There are actually four types altogether, but we're only going to look at two. One is the Petrarchian sonnet, named after Petrarch, and the Shakespearean sonnet. So named after Petrarch and after Shakespeare. So the Petrarchian sonnet is consists of an octave with the rhyme scheme A B B A A B B A and a sestet with one of several rhyme schemes. Now, those are all kinds of weird words that you might know if you're a lit major, but you may not know otherwise. So let's break them down. An octave is very easy. It's 8 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 lines. Like an octagon, an octave is 8 lines. Rhyme schemes are the end words, how they rhyme. So fame rhymes with flame, which rhymes with name, which rhymes with frame. Land rhymes with stand, hand, and command. So we have A, B, B, A, B, B, A. And a sestet is ready. You could probably guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 lines. So octave 8, sestet 6. 8 plus 6 is 14. And again, we have different rhyme schemes here. This particular one is C, D, C, D, C, D. All right, so that's a Petrarchian sonnet. So now we have a Shakespeare sonnet. A Shakespeare sonnet is a poem expressive of thought, emotion, or idea. It is usually 14 lines, again, 14 lines, which are formed by 3 quatrains with a rhyming couplet for the last 2 lines. So quatrain, if you can think about this, quads, 4. Quatrain, 1, 2, 3, 4. Another quatrain, 1, 2, 3, 4. Another quatrain, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then a couplet, couple, 2. So look at these rhyme schemes. Time rhymes with prime. Night rhymes with white. So we've got time, night, prime, white. So A, B. Leaves, C, hard, D. Leaves rhymes with sheaves. Hard rhymes with beard. It's kind of an odd pronunciation, but it rhymes. It's close. And then we have make, forsake, go, grow, and then defense and hence. So Petrarchian sonnets are simple. They have an octave, first 8 lines, which describes the problem, followed by a sestet, the last 6 lines, which gives resolution to it. Usually the 9th line creates a turn, or a votive, which signals the move from proposition to resolution, from problem to solution. Now in Shakespeare, the first quatrain, first 4 lines, is an exposition of the main theme or main metaphor. The second quatrain is the theme and the metaphor is extended, or we call this complicated. So it's made into a larger issue. Often some imaginative examples are given. Third quatrain is often the twist. The but usually introduces this. Again, this is at the 9th line. And finally, the summarization, the punchline, leaves the reader with a new concluding image is the ending couplet. So we're going to break down one of Shakespeare's sonnets. One of my favorite sonnets. You're going to pick one of his sonnets to break down yourself. This sonnet, 130, is going to be eliminated as a choice for you to use since I'm breaking it down for you. So let's read it first. My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. If snow be white, why then her breasts are done. If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. I have seen roses damask, red and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks. And in some perfumes there is more delight than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. And yet, by heaven, I think my love is rare, as any she belied with false compare. So here's our thing. We have our end rhymes here. Sun, done, red head, white delight, cheeks, reeks, no, go, sound, ground, and then rare and compare. Then we have kind of a turn here when we go from visual images and smell to sound. So we have a little bit of a turn, and then the punchline in the couplet. So let's go through this. The sonnet's a satire of another one. This is a famous sonnet of Shakespeare's time, which was typical sonnet of praise or love. So this is the one that Shakespeare's making fun of in Sonnet 130. My lady's hair is threads of beaten gold. Her front the purest crystal eyes have seen. Her eyes the brightest stars the heavens hold. Her cheeks red roses such as seld have been. Her pretty lips of red vermilion dye. Her hands of ivory the purest white. Her blush aurora o'er the morning sky. Her breasts displayed two silver fountains bright. The spheres, her voice, her grace, the graces three. Her body is the saint that I adore. Her smiles and favors sweet as honey bee. Her feet fair Thesis praises evermore. But the worst and last is yet beyond. For eye of griffin she hath bear the mind. She doth bear the mind. So he's giving her all these wonderful praises. So Shakespeare's making fun of that. And you're going to see. So a metaphor, I'm asking you to pick up metaphors and images. So a metaphor is a figure of speech that describes an object or action in a way that isn't literally true, but helps explain an idea or a comparison. So you ain't nothing but a hound dog crying all the time. You is being called a dog. So that's poetically calling one thing something else. Similes are very, very close to metaphors. They're also a figure of speech involving a comparison of one thing to another thing of a different kind. They're used to make descriptions more emphatic or vivid. The thing with a simile is they usually have like or as. So here we have poetically explaining things, how things are like other things. So again, that word like. Just like a prayer, your voice can take me there. Just like a muse to me, you are a mystery. So like. So the metaphors and similes in Sonnet 130. Our first line. My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. Shakespeare starts off with this negative simile. Rather than praising, the typical praising of the beloved's eyes being more beautiful than the sun, the speaker claims his beloved's eyes are nothing like the sun. Carl is far more red than her lips red. Again, we have another negative metaphor. Instead of suggesting his beloved's lips are the color of Carl, our speaker says Carl is far more true of a red. So here we don't have a like or an as. We have a metaphor. Simile, metaphor. If snow be white, then why then her breasts are done. Another kind of typical, I'm sorry, it's not a simile, it's a metaphor. This is kind of this spoof again. It's a metaphor suggesting that his speaker's breasts are kind of dirty looking rather than pure snow. It's also an insinuation that maybe she's not so virginal. If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. Again, another metaphor. If hairs be wires, comparing hair with wire. I have seen roses damask red and white, but no such roses I see in her lips. Again, we have a common metaphor comparing a woman's cheeks to roses. And our final one is a metaphor of breathing. The idea that our speaker's breath is kind of smelly. It reeks. Then we have our final two. We have music. Usually we hear that our speaker has a beautiful melodious voice. Here they're saying that music is much better sound than her voice. And usually there's this suggestion that the beloved kind of is like a goddess and floats on the ground. Here he's saying she trods, thump, 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 rather than kind of floating. And then our kicker, our punchline. And yet by heaven I think my love is rare, as any she belied with false compare. This couplet doesn't use any similes or metaphors, but it's the payoff. He says his love is true because he's not lying by falsely comparing his beloved to images that are beyond human expectation. He loves her because of her humanness, not in spite of it. So imagery, again, an image is just a synonym for a picture. Images not only need to be visual, they can touch any of the five senses. There are tons of images in this poem that appeal to all the senses. We have visual images like red coral, white snow, black wires, red and white roses. We have sound images like musical voices treading on the ground. And we have, sorry, it should be scent. There should be a C in there. Scent images like damask roses, the smell of roses, and perfumed breath. The theme of the poem is that the poem speaker has a true love for his beloved and doesn't need to lie or exaggerate her features. He loves her just the way she is. And it really is a true love poem, not a false comparison, flattery. All right, so hopefully you guys will pick your own sonnet and break it down just like I did. All right, I look forward to reading it.